Hello dolls and welcome back to another episode. Today let's dive into a style that for many stands synonymously with the counterculture movement of the 1970s, Bohemian fashion and the 1970s bohème. Emerging in the late 1960s and flourishing throughout the 1970s, Bohemian fashion, often simply referred to Boho, represented a lifestyle of freedom, creativity, and self-expression. This style was born out of a desire to rebel against the structured and conservative norms of the previous decades. Influenced by the hippie movement, Bohemian fashion was more than just a way to dress. It was a statement of individuality and non-conformity. If you want to know more about the 1960s hippies and the 1960s bohème, because this is kind of where the roots of the 70s bohème lays, I'm going to link some videos right here that I made explaining those styles and subcultures. The Bohemian subculture emerged in the United States in the late 1960s, but it took root worldwide in the 1970s. Bohemians cultivated a vibrant, free-spirited lifestyle, and their fashion choices reflected a mix of influences from various cultures all around the world to the romantic looks of the Victorian and Edwardian eras. This era was marked by a move away from the Polish, tailored styles of the 1950s and early 60s, instead embracing a more relaxed and eclectic aesthetic. The hippie ethos of peace, love, and harmony was mirrored in the flowing fabrics, earthy colors, and handcrafted details of Bohemian style. With the social upheaval of the time, the civil rights movement, anti-war protests, and a growing environmental consciousness, young people sought ways to express their newfound freedom and ideals. Bohemian fashion was one of those outlets, allowing them to reject mainstream consumerism in favor of a more organic, artistic, and sustainable approach to clothing. Through a mix of ethnic prints, layered clothing, and natural materials, Bohemians sought to redefine what it meant to be young, free, and in tune with nature. The style celebrated imperfections, championed individuality, and embraced a carefree, laid-back energy. But the roots of Bohemian fashion can be traced back even further than the 1960s, drawing inspiration from 19th century Bohemian artists and intellectuals who rebelled against the conventional lifestyles. By the 1970s, this Bohemian spirit was reimagined, blending the romantic, unstructured silhouettes of the past with the psychedelic prints and colors of the present. Think Indian kaftans, Native American jewelry, and African prints, creating a truly eclectic style. Bohemians eagerly awaited the weekends, diving into festivals, concerts, and outdoor gatherings. Woodstock in 1969 was a seminal moment for the Bohemian fashion, where flowing skirts, bell-bottom jeans, fringed vests, and tie-dye shirts became the uniform of the counterculture. Festivals like Glastonbury in the UK and Altamont in California followed, where music, fashion, and the Bohemian spirit intertwined in unforgettable ways. In addition to festivals, places like San Francisco's Haight-Ashbury district and London's Portobello Road became hotspots for Bohemian fashion. Boutiques and street vendors sold vintage finds, handcrafted jewelry, and unique one-of-a-kind pieces that defined the mass market trends of the day. Clothing became a canvas for personal expression, with items often embellished with embroideries, beads, and fringe. I read about the Portobello Road's flea markets so much. There must have been all these wonderful antique shops. Patti Boyd and George Harrison shopped there. A bunch of wonderful 60s and 70s rock stars and people who were just inclined with the wonderful ways of the Bohemian fashion and style, and the way of life that was attached to it. A notable aspect of the Bohemian subculture was its embrace of natural, sustainable living, which intended into the clothing choices. Many Bohemians favored second-hand or handmade clothing, using their outfits as a form of protest against fast fashion and environmental degradation. This self-made approach to fashion was the hallmark of the Bohemian style, with people often customizing their clothing with patches, embroidery, or fabric paint.
And they really love it. Like you have a pair of blue jeans and you get a hole in it, you put one patch and another, and they'll wear them until they fall apart, and if they last for 5 years, that's all the better.
With the rise of environmental feminist movements, the youth of the 1970s had more disposable income and leisure time than the previous generation, which, unlike the 1960s youth who often spent that on clothing and the latest mod look, was now spent on experiences and expression that aligned with their values. This This led to the emergence of small-scale artisans and designers who created unique, handcrafted pieces that became the hallmark of the 1970s boho style. The 1970s were a time when traditional gender norms were being challenged, and this was greatly reflected in Bohemian fashion. Men and women alike wore loose-fitting garments, flare jeans, and flowing tunics, blurring the lines of conventional masculine and feminine dress. For women, fashion icons like Stevie Nicks, Janis Joplin, and Ellie McGraw epitomized the boho look, with their long flowing hair, peasant blouses, and maxi skirts. Men like George Harrison and Jim Morrison embraced a more eclectic style, often wearing jewelry, scarves, and patterned shirts. So let's talk about the queen of 1970s Bohemian fashion and rock music, Stevie Nicks. As the lead singer of Fleetwood Mac, she played all around the world and became an icon, known for her incredible voice, unique style, and dancing on stage. Stevie's style was and is iconic, characterized by her ethereal, mystical look that combined elements of bohemian, rock, and vintage fashion. On stage, she often wore flowing chiffon gowns and shawls layered with lace, velvets, and fringe, creating a romantic and otherworldly aesthetic. Her stage outfits often were in dark, moody colors like black, burgundy, and deep blues, sometimes embellished with sequins or beads, adding a touch of glamour to her otherwise earthy style. Stevie wore loads and loads of platform shoes, which not only added height but also gave her the distinctive silhouette that became part of her signature look. One of her most popular outfits is the Rhiannon dress, a layered black chiffon gown with billowing sleeves that she would twirl around in during performances, enhancing her mystical presence on stage. She also loved wearing top hats, feathered accessories, and long flowing scarves, all of which contributed to her unique rock and roll mystique. Offstage, Stevie maintained her distinctive style, but often in a more subdued form. She favored vintage-inspired dresses with bohemian flair, such as Victorian lace tops, flared jeans, peasant blouses, and velvet details. Her street style still retained the ethereal quality, but with a more practical approach. She was known for her love of layering, often wearing shawls or oversized knit sweaters over her outfits, maintaining a cozy, effortless look that still had a touch of drama. Stevie Nicks' everyday style often included the same earthy colors she preferred on stage, as well as floral prints, flowing skirts, and large bell sleeves, blending a sense of vintage romance with rock and roll edge. Stevie's hair and makeup was as much part of her signature look as her clothing. In the 1970s, she sported long, blonde, wavy hair that often looked slightly tousled and wild, perfectly matching her free-spirited style. She would also do these kind of little updos that I did inspired by her, which, speaking of it, my makeup, my outfit, everything is really inspired by the wonderful Stevie today. I love the sleeves on this dress and the wonderful details, but I actually filmed a full tutorial for this makeup and hair. I heard that you really wanted to see them again, so keep your eyes out. This video will come really soon. Her hair and makeup style added to her fairy-like image. Occasionally, she would tie her hair back with a scarf or wear soft curls, but it always had a natural and effortless feel. In terms of makeup, Stevie loved a dramatic eye look, with dark eyeliner and smoky eyeshadow that accentuated her large, expressive eyes. Her makeup was usually completed with either a soft nude or a dark and heavy lip color, keeping the focus mostly on her eyes. The combination of her dramatic makeup and voluminous hair created a captivating, mystique look that became synonymous with her image both on and off stage. For many, Stevie still is the embodiment of 1970s Bohemian fashion, and I truly think her style and her range of style encapsulates the time and the Bohemian look greatly. For the Bohemians, fashion was a way to resist the conformity of the mainstream and express a more liberal and open-minded approach to life. The focus was on comfort, freedom of movement, and a natural, unstudied elegance that was in stark contrast with the stiff, tailored looks of the earlier decades. The 1970s also saw the rise of patchwork and folk-inspired clothing, which incorporated traditional techniques and patterns from around the world. This included Eastern European embroidery, Indian paisley prints, and Middle Eastern kaftans. The emphasis on handcrafted, artisanal pieces reflected a desire to return to a more traditional, sustainable way of living that stood in opposition to the consumerism of the 1970s. Bohemian fashion wasn't just about the clothes, it was a whole lifestyle that encompassed a love for nature, a commitment to peace and social justice, and a desire for authenticity and simplicity. For many, it was a rejection of materialism and an excess of the modern life and a return to a more meaningful, connected way of being. The hallmarks of Bohemian style included maxi skirts, bell-bottom jeans, flowing tunics, embroidered blouses and fringes, bold colors, earthy tones, and a mix of prints and materials, often inspired by global cultures. Accessories too played a big role, with oversized heads, layered necklaces, and chunky bracelets, adding to the eclectic and carefree energy. A lot of natural stones were worn, often paired with a bunch of vintage rings. In the 1970s, the music scene played a pivotal role in the popularization of the Bohemian style, with genres like folk, rock, psychedelic rock, and later the emerging singer-songwriter movement putting the Bohemian style on the forefront of 1970s fashion. This period saw a strong emphasis on themes of freedom, personal expression, and a return to nature, all of which were mirrored in both music and fashion. The music was often experimental and eclectic, blending different genres and sounds, much like the Bohemian fashion style, which drew from various cultural influences and historical periods. Folk music, with its roots in social and political commentary, was a cornerstone of the Bohemian style and lifestyle. Artists like Joni Mitchell and Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, who embraced both the sound and the ethos of the folk music, wore clothes that reflected their desires for simplicity and authenticity. Their music, characterized by acoustic guitars, harmonies, and introspective lyrics, resonated with a generation yearning for change and self-expression. The Bohemian fashion that accompanied this music, peasant blouses, embroidered vests, and flowing skirts, reflected a connection to a more natural and uncommercial way of life, aligning with the folk rock movement values. Psychedelic rock also significantly influenced Bohemian fashion, promoting a colorful, surreal look that matched the new and wonderful soundscapes. Bands like The Doors, Jefferson Airplane, and The Grateful Dead pushed the boundaries of music with their experimental styles, long improvisations, lyrics that explored consciousness and spirituality. This music created a sensory experience that was often mirrored in the bright colors, tie-dye patterns, bell-bottom pants, and headbands that became staples of the Bohemian fashion. The clothing choices were not just about style, but about enhancing the sensory experience and expressing the mind-expanding themes of the music. Additionally, the singer-songwriter movement of the 1970s, featuring artists like Carole King, James Taylor, and Cat Stevens, focused on deeply personal and emotional storytelling through music. This introspective, soulful music was often paired with a softer, more understated Bohemian style. Think cozy knit sweaters, flowing dresses, lots of denim, and leather boots. This look was casual yet thoughtful, reflecting the personal, confessional nature of the lyrics and the intimate performances that characterized this genre. As mentioned earlier, the rise of music festivals like Woodstock, Monterey Pop, and Glastonbury provided a communal space where music and Bohemian fashion flourished together. These festivals became cultural epicenters where artists and attendees alike expressed themselves freely through both their musical performances and their eclectic, often handmade clothing. The festivals became showcases for the Bohemian lifestyle, where the boundaries between musicians and fans blurred, united by shared ideals of peace, love, and artistic expression. Music wasn't just a soundtrack for the Bohemian style, it was a driving force that helped to define the look and feel of an entire era. As the 1970s progressed, the Bohemian style evolved, incorporating elements of glam rock and disco, but its core principles of freedom, creativity, and individuality remained the same. Even as the decade came to a close, Bohemian style left a lasting legacy on fashion, continuing to inspire designers and trendsetters even now. While the Bohemian style may have ebbed and flowed in popularity, its influence can still be seen today, from music festivals to high fashion runways. The spirit of the 1970s Bohemian style remains a powerful reminder of a time when fashion was not just about what you wore, but what you stood for. Bohemian fashion was a cultural revolution that went beyond clothes, challenging societal norms and celebrating a way of living. And though it might seem like just another trend from the 60s and 70s, Bohemian fashion continues to resonate, inspiring new generations to embrace its ethos of freedom, creativity, and individuality. Bohemian fashion still is a hallmark of late 1960s and 1970s style, with women like Stevie Nicks still wearing it and still inspiring us. So that is it for today's video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, I would love for you to give it a thumbs up and maybe even share it with a friend. It supports me, it supports the channel, and it would truly mean the world. I would like to quickly shout out the wonderful Chain Design. They make handmade clothing. They made this wonderful dress. Lucy makes all of these. It's a slow fashion, handmade, sustainable brand, very in line with the Bohemian ethos of the 60s and 70s. So I'm just gonna link it down below in case you want to get your hands on this beautiful dress. I got it gifted and I wear it a lot. It is just so dreamy and wonderful. A very Stevie Nicks kind of look. If you want to learn more about the 60s and 70s, the makeup, the fashion, the music, consider subscribing because I upload once or twice a week all about those topics. Leave a comment down below telling me whose Bohemian style inspires you the most. I hope you have a beautiful day. Go out, enjoy the sunshine, take yourself some time to focus on you and your mental health today, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye everybody. Oh boy, it is so hot today. We don't have an AC, so I have my feet in a water thing. You can hear it. I'm so hot. My husband and son and sister-in-law are already at the pool, so I'm gonna pack up, go there and swim because it is over 30 degrees and I just cannot handle it anymore. I hope you have a great day and I hope the heat wave is over soon.